Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. The Met Office is closely watching the progress of a strong tropical wave and tropical depression number 14 located in the central and eastern Atlantic. Meteorologist David Best joins us now with the developments. David, good evening.
All right, good evening to you, Shane, and good evening to all viewers. And when you see me this early in the news, you know something is happening, in the words of the red plastic bag. And as a result, we have issued a severe weather information statement. This was issued at noon today, the 15th of September 2017, of course. And the Meteorological Department is currently monitoring the progress of a strong tropical wave and tropical depression number 14 located in the central and far eastern Atlantic, respectively. Now, of immediate interest, the tropical wave, which is closer to Barbados, it is presently now pretty close to 1,000 miles to the east of the Windward Islands. Now, at present, model guidance is suggesting some slow development is possible over the next few days as the system tracks westward to west-northwestward at about 15 miles per hour. Now, regardless of this development, some moderate to heavy showers, periods of rain, scattered thunderstorms, and occasional gusty winds are likely to spread across Barbados starting late Sunday into Monday. Now, rainfall accumulations of 6 to 8 inches are possible along the passage of this system. Now, already we had close to 30 inches of rainfall here in Barbados. This is at our Charnock station, which is pretty low as far as rainfall is concerned. Could conservatively be as much as 40 inches of rainfall. So there is the potential for flooding if that type of rainfall develops out of this system. Now, marine conditions are also expected to deteriorate quite rapidly, and around Sunday afternoon, we are expecting to see swells in the vicinity of 4 to 6 meters. That will be 12 to almost 20 feet. As a consequence, a high surf advisory and small craft warning will be in effect from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Now, large waves, dangerous rip currents can be expected, and these, of course, will create unsafe conditions for small craft operators. Seabathers and other users of the sea are advised to stay out of the water at this time. Now, this activity can become even more adverse at high tides. So, we're urging you to continue to listen to us. We are going to be putting out our statements as necessary. With respect to tropical depression number 14, that system is presently tracking to the west-northwest to northwest in the central Atlantic and may very well not pose a significant threat to us here in Barbados. But of course, we'll keep you fully informed. And I'll be back in my segment to give you a pictorial view of the systems. Shane?
Thanks, David. Let's hope those systems miss us. Well, for the past 2 years, the transition to secondary school program has been effective in boosting students' knowledge of HIV and other social ills. And stakeholders involved in this year's edition intend to ensure all participants are educated and possess the skills to help them adjust easily at their new schools. The 2017 program was launched this morning at the Warren's office complex. Rianne Phillips reports.
Over 5,000 first-form students have completed the transition to secondary school program since it started in 2015. And monitoring and evaluation consultant Henri Bab says many of them are now more knowledgeable in the end than when they first started. The program covers 5 topics. They are drug awareness, bullying and conflict, HIV and STI prevention, gender issues, and human sexuality.
What we found is that in 2016 there was a lower starting point, so the students entering the school had less knowledge than those that were entering in 2015. But what we saw was that at 2016 at the end in the post-test there was actually parallel levels of knowledge to the first year, so it shows that there's a greater level of knowledge transfer between 2015 and 2016. So this program has worked.
However, there are still some areas of concern, such as the students' limited knowledge on gender issues and females outperforming their male colleagues.
The number of them that got between 6 and 10 responses correct at the pre-test was 10 to 15 correct at the pretest was about 51% for females, and the same thing existed for females at the post-test. They went up to about 56%. But on the males, what you saw is that between 11 and 15, they only had 46% compared to the 51% of the female.
Meanwhile, program coordinator Cecilia Murray is confident this year's program will meet its expectations.
Some of our expectations: punctuality, the provision of tech support by the National HIV Commission, timely provision of information on the T2S personnel conducting the sessions at each school, minimal disruption to school schedules.
The Ministry of Education is a stakeholder in the program and believes it will blend with the work of the guidance counselors.
We remind you, though, that this is merely a sensitization, and it is meant to complement the work of the guidance counselors within the schools as we seek to address issues that have become troubling among our youth and in our wider society.
The T2S program will take the form of half-day workshops at secondary schools, which are to be rolled out later this month. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
As Barbados' relationship with China grows and evolves, the Barbados Institute of Management and Productivity, BIMAP, is ensuring its students are not left behind. The Wildy St. Michael Institution has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Confucius Institute at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus on a program that will see its students being introduced to Mandarin. Executive Director at BIMAP, Dr. Sonia Greenwich Franklin, has welcomed the collaboration, thanking the Institute for coming on board and providing 6 scholarships. She says China is a superpower and learning the language is important.
Because our students will get an advantage when they are able to speak that language, especially the way that the world is developing right now, with the Chinese becoming more and more of a superpower. So that's very important to us. But the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, what they did was to pledge their support in a very tangible way. They did not just talk about it. They said to us immediately, we're going to supply the tutor from the Confucius Institute. The tutor, Dr. Lee, that's what we call her, Dr. Lee, who is now a member of the BIMAP family.
Co-director of the Confucius Institute, Francois Jackman, encouraged students to embrace the challenge as learning Mandarin opens the mind.
With this program, you are going to acquire some basic knowledge about China and Chinese. And as you go forth in your professional lives, you will have the opportunity, I hope, to put into practice that which you have acquired here at BIMAP. And for the opportunity to participate in this, I would like to express on behalf of the Institute, my co-director, Dr. Song, our senior teacher, Dr. Lee, 2 of our volunteer teachers who've come along, our deep appreciation and our commitment to continue supporting you at BIMAP, the ministry, the embassy, and in particular you, the students, as you take this new journey to the east.
After a 9-year hiatus, the Chefette brand has returned to the parish of St. James. The new multi-million-dollar facility located in Lancaster was officially opened today. Sharika Griffith was there and filed this report.
No order was too big at the newly opened Chefette in Lancaster this morning. Guests invited to the opening ceremony of Chefette's 15th restaurant were allowed to choose whatever they desired from the extensive menu on offer. Following the closure of the beachside facility in Holetown in 2008, Managing Director Ryan Halu says the opening is the culmination of plans to establish another restaurant in St. James.
Luckily for us, we received an offer to sell the property to an overseas investor we just could not refuse, especially at a time when the country was going down into a recession that we now see is probably spanning more than a decade. We accepted that offer with the goal to reinvest all of those funds back into the country, expand our business with the hope of one day returning to the parish of St. James. I stand very proud today to tell you that we have attained that goal.
The new facility, which sits on 5,000 square feet, features ultra-modern design and decor like that seen in the Welch's branch. It also houses the largest playground, which stands at 3 stories tall and has a zip line and a spaceship. The Orange Hill facility is also outfitted with an ice cream parlor, which was included in the plans after the successful introduction of one at Rockley in July this year. Mr. Halut says the decision to build such a large location, second only to the Rockley branch, shows the company's dedication to Barbados.
It really reaffirms Chefette's commitment to this local economy, to our country, to job security in a time that we are all being tested. I mean, how much can you squeeze a stone and break it back? It's tough on everybody. We are continuing to push hard in this country. We're not going to ever give up. And Father Paul, as you said, God is here with us, and we will all survive this.
An additional 52 people have been employed with the opening of this new restaurant, which brings the total staff count to more than 850. Chief Operations Officer Maurice Habre says even in tough economic times, the company still strives to offer their employees job security.
We will continue to build and invest to keep our company strong and protect the jobs of our staff and their families who depend on them. In closing, we at Chefette intend to remain the leading restaurant chain in Barbados, and we promise all of you, our valued customers, to continue our quest to provide the highest level of service and total customer satisfaction that you've all grown up and knowing and being accustomed to.
Among those in attendance at the opening ceremony were Chairman and founder of Chefette, Assad Halout, former Governor General Sir Elliot Belgrave, and construction magnate Sir Charles Williams. Chefette will be celebrating 45 years of operations in December. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. We'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Celebrate and save this back to school with Biko. Enjoy Biko Double Delight French Vanilla 1 liter ice cream, now only $19.95 VAT inclusive. Barbados' best-selling French Vanilla ice cream for a limited time only at the unbeatable price of $19.95 VAT inclusive. This offer available from participating outlets island-wide, Biko Mobilers, and the Biko Direct Outlet on Harbor Road.
Love Game of Thrones? Win cool collectibles and other branded items with the compliments of MCTV. Like and share the MCTV Barbados page on Facebook and answer the question to win daily. Promotion runs September 18th to 22nd, 2017. You must be an MCTV subscriber in order to win. MCTV, the right choice.
Do you want audience numbers? Over 140,000 people are watching Morning Barbados and the evening news. 6 out of 10 top radio personalities are found right here at the CBC. CBC delivers the audience you need.
International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer is recognized globally on September 16th, and today the Ministry of Environment and Drainage presented 3 young men with the National Ozone Depleting Substances Phase-Out Scholarship. SJPP students Ryan Felicien, Rashad Gorin, and Gerard Roach were the proud recipients of $700 each, and head of the Division of Electrical Engineering at the SJPP, Edwin Gibson, says it is a fantastic incentive.
It has helped to instill some more pride and, as I would say, more importance in technicians training themselves and the youngsters training themselves. They have something to look forward to. It is a project that we at the Polytechnic are grateful for. We have received a lot of equipment and support over the years, and I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the management of the Polytechnic to say thank you to the Ministry of Environment, as well as the National Ozone Unit.
The scholarship was established in 2014. An ozone officer at the Ministry of Environment and Drainage, Chantal Wellington, outlined its intention.
The award is intended to complement Barbados' actions that are directed at achieving HCFC phase-out targets defined in the National Hydrochlorofluorocarbon Phase-Out Management Plan. And it aims to increase the exposure of RAC students at the SJPP to Barbados' obligations under the Montreal Protocol, assist with the raising of the profile of the Diploma in Refrigeration and Air Conditioning program at the SJPP, further promote the utilization of good environmentally sensitive service practices amongst students at the SJPP and in the wider RAC community, and over the long term contribute to the further development of the RAC Association of Barbados.
Health Minister John Boyce is again asking Barbadians to take their health seriously. Mr. Boyce was speaking during Caribbean Wellness Day activities at Brandon's Beach. He says almost 80% of adults between the ages of 40 and 65 years suffer from at least one non-communicable disease. He says diet and exercise are critical.
We need to, as part of our program, to make sure that we eat well and that we eat regularly and we eat, of course, enough to satisfy our bodily needs, but we do not go to excesses.
For a lot of people, eating gluten-free is more of a trend than a lifestyle choice. While speaking at the Men's Health Forum at the David Thompson Health and Social Services Complex, nutritionist Carla Ramsey explained that not everyone has to eat gluten-free.
If you are not gluten intolerant or have celiac disease, I would not even tell you to try to eat gluten-free. You see what you just said? It's a fad. It doesn't necessarily make anything healthier either. I can find a gluten-free bread, but it can carry more fat and more salt. Yeah. Not our bakeries, is the imported bread. More fat and more salt than what you would normally buy off the shelf. So it's a trade. Anytime you see you move something in nutrition, it's a trade. So when I take sugar out, fat and salt will go up. If I move salt, sugar and fat will go up.
After the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.
Everybody smile.
If there's a natural or man-made disaster and you have to go to an emergency shelter, leave home early, ideally during the day, and avoid flooded areas. Don't take pets, weapons, alcoholic beverages, or narcotics. In St. Michael, the Category 1 emergency shelters are Ellerslie Secondary School, George Lamon Primary, Commermere, Black Rock Seventh-day Adventist, and Dalkeith Methodist Church.
For a full list of shelters, visit www.gisbarbados.gov.bb or www.dem.gov.bb.
The largest share of radio audience is tuned into, you guessed it, 98.1 The One.
Confidently beautiful in 2016, Miss Universe Barbados Shannon Harris represented us well. Now join us live on Saturday, September 16th at 8 p.m. on Trident 10 TV and Cbc TV8 as we crown our new Miss Universe Barbados. Brought to you by
Julie's Party Rentals. One call does it all. Mel's Nails School and Salon Inc., professional hair, nails and skincare, and Black Opal for every shade of beauty.
The regional security system has been critical in evacuating scores of CARICOM nationals from hurricane-ravaged islands following the passing of Hurricane Irma. Hundreds of regional flights were cancelled, leaving thousands stranded in the region. Executive Director of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Ronald Jackson, says the RSS has conducted more than 13 missions so far, and their work is still not completed.
And as I speak to you, they are retrieving our teams out of Anguilla. They're retrieving some of our team members out of BVI, and they are taking them into our staging area in Antigua and bringing the rest back here to Barbados for onward deployment. And they've done a tremendous job in facilitating the SEDEMA operations as very good partners, and I want to recognize their own contributions given the other demands that are being placed on them and on their asset.
Mr. Jackson says with so many people now staying in temporary accommodation, they are also looking at the whole issue of shelter management on a much broader scale.
On Antigua, the over 320 persons that are in the public shelter continue to be cared for by national representatives. We've dispatched experts from UN organizations, UNICEF, from the International Office of Migration, UN Women, to look at some of the requisite standards that need to be applied in the management of these individuals, both in terms of the camp style, the needs of children, the needs of women, to ensure that that is being taken into consideration as they continue to inhabit the shelter facilities over the next week or so. We've been having discussions around a rapid transition from the current shelter arrangement into more transitional shelter facilities, looking at potentially rental subsidies as well as food subsidies for these individuals, given that their entire livelihood and housing in Barbuda would have been destroyed.
Royal Caribbean says its ships will not be able to visit St. Martin nor St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands and Key West for some time. The company has not indicated how long it may stay away. Royal Caribbean, in the interim, will be working on finding alternative ports for future sailings until the affected islands have fully recovered. St. Thomas and St. Martin are two of the Caribbean destinations most visited by cruise ships and integral to dozens of cruise itineraries. Each draws more than 1.6 million cruisers per year. Over 100 criminals who broke out of prison in the BVI during the passage of Irma have been captured. The escapees were rounded up during an operation yesterday. The governor did not disclose the exact number of criminals captured or those that are still on the run. However, according to information in the international press, 120 prisoners escaped after a section of the facility was damaged during the passage of Hurricane Irma. A light earthquake was recorded off Martinique this morning. The 4.6 magnitude quake struck about 2 minutes to 7. It was recorded 49 kilometers east-northeast of the French Caribbean island. President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Dr. Warren Smith, has announced a new system to approve the disbursement of development funds much more quickly.
He spoke at a press conference on Thursday following a meeting with Prime Minister Skerrit and other members of government. The Prime Minister previously complained about the length of time it takes for government to receive approved funds for development work. In January, while on a tour of the York Valley Bridge project in Layu, Mr. Skerrit noted the loan agreement for the project was signed between government and the CDB in 2010, but it was yet to receive the funds.
We appreciate the visit of the President. His visit here should be seen by the people of Dominica as the level of seriousness which he himself, not only his staff, but the highest authority administratively of the bank, the President, is taking the relationship with Dominica and seeking to hear for himself the issues, see for himself the issues, and then put some solutions in place to the issues. If you were to ask me if I'm very satisfied with his visit, I can tell you I'm extremely satisfied with his visit and the discussions which we had, which were very frank and open and transparent. And for us, it's not about this CDB and Dominica. It is about a partnership. It is about a long-standing relationship. And I do not see us leaving the CDB, neither do I see this CDB leaving us.
Dr. Warren said the new disbursement system presents a risk for the bank, but it feels it's a risk worth taking.
One of the things that we have come up with is a new mechanism for advance payment. In other words, depending on your circumstances, the CDB is prepared to provide funding upfront in order as a disbursement prior to the work actually being done, right? Now, that is good for us because it gets the money out the door, but it's also good for you because you know, you're put in a position where you can get started earlier. So it's early days. It's something that the other multilateral institutions have done, but we as a small institution have been much more cautious in that respect, in part also because of the vulnerabilities of our own countries, and especially with them being small economies.
He also said there was nothing wrong with a citizenship by investment program once the right due diligence is exercised.
The government is keeping the pressure up to have the United Kingdom reverse the ban on greenheart exports from Guyana. Roydin James reports.
The ban on greenheart lumber was imposed during the Ramotaro administration when good relations between Guyana and the United Kingdom were not peaking. Responding to questions by Nightly News on the lumber ban on Wednesday, Foreign Minister Carl Greenidge said the government recognizes the importance of this timber export and its contributions to the economy, and therefore is working tirelessly to have the ban reversed.
Been a little bit of a sore point for us for some time. I know that within the private sector there is concern, and we have, for example, tried to ensure, at least at the Foreign Affairs end, that the High Commission in London is apprised of the matter, keeps pressing it in the case of the UK authorities.
Minister Greenidge described greenheart as part of Guyanese identity, adding that the current export restriction harms local production also. He said the issue is of concern to the government, which is focusing on finding solutions now.
In addition to engaging the authorities in Britain, we will be trying to ensure that, how shall I put it, that the standards, if you like, applicable to the harvesting of greenheart and other species can be established and enforced.
Mr. Greenidge expressed the hope that Guyana can perform better with the export of greenheart to the United Kingdom when the ban is reversed.
Give some thought to how best to put in place standards that would assure the British buyers that forests, including greenheart forests, are being sustainably harvested.
The ban resulted in Guyana's greenheart exports nosediving from $3.2 million in 2014 to $1.1 million last year. This represents a massive 65% decline.
A glimpse into the world of sports is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
If you observe any activity that you consider suspicious, report it to the police. We are in this together, and by working together, we can combat crime. This auto theft prevention tip is brought to you in association with the Royal Barbados Police Force.